Hello, hello, hello. You are here with Dave Jose, and I am going to drop a fire video on you guys. This is going to be a teaching that is going to be inside of my common law class. And I want to break it down to you guys so you can understand some of the deception and some of the tricks that are being used by attorneys and judges when they tell you they are writing case law. Now, the thing is that we never told judges to write any law. And what happens is that in many cases, we confuse what is under one jurisdiction and assume that it applies to the rights of the people. So many times what happens is the statute that a legislative body would work with deals with the persons of government and how they're going to handle the people's business. They then overextend the jurisdiction by putting out statute, not telling the people that they have the rights and protections under the common law, which are in the bills and declarations and rights. And some of them are even rights that we have that are not enumerated in the state constitution and the bills and declarations of rights. So you got to realize we have so many rights that it's difficult when you're creating a constitution to be able to list all of them out so your employees recognize that they're not supposed to go after your rights. So when you look, you'll see where it says that the people have a right to not have their life, liberty, or property interfered with, except for it be by the judgment of their peers or by the law of the land. Now, the law of the land is the common law. We are a common law nation. If you don't believe me, you can go to Article 7 of the Bill of Rights, the United States Bill of Rights, and you'll find that it tells you that when you have a trial by jury under the common law, that there's no other court in America that can interfere with the judgment or hear the matter except for if it be by the common law, and it has to be at least $20. So what happens is there's a jurisdiction that deals with the common law, which is the rights of the people, their property, and how they relate to government serving them to protect these. And then you have administrative stuff where they write a statute where people who work for government consent to be bound by these statutes. In the common law on this side, it says that you can't have any life, liberty, or property taken away from you except for by a jury of your peers in the law of the land, the common law, right? On this side, they say any person who steps on the grass is guilty of trespassing. Any person who does this is guilty. On this side, it says you are innocent until proven guilty. On this side, because the government officials and entities that are considered persons, right? Persons of government created by statute, ens legis entities. Ens legis just means legal entity. So these ens legis persons and positions and people who are in office and companies that are created by statute are bound by the statute. And when they ask for permission to have a privilege or something on this side, it has nothing to do with this side. So the people have the ability to be free, independent, live their life, and not be affected unless there is a warrant because you harm somebody's common law rights, right? You hurt someone on this side so they can make a warrant to arrest you because the people on this side allow the government workers on this side to handle their business. So this side should only be activated against this side if you harm somebody and someone delegated authority to a court to arrest you or an officer. Now, when it comes to this side, what happens is they make a whole bunch of statutes that say you're guilty if you do this as a person. That has nothing to do with being one of the people. And what happens is this side starts to have a whole bunch of court cases or cases in legislative tribunals or administrative hearings where they try to say any person who did this got this type of fine or this type of jail sentence. So we're going to use precedents based on what's happening in these cases to act like, right? They're overextending jurisdiction to act like it binds the people. The people have the common law, right? That is God's law that is above them, and the rights and the freedoms of the people. When you harm your brother, or when you do things that are openly against God, right? Evil, you're able to be prosecuted. But when somebody tells you you're guilty of a statute that applies to a person and that statute may not apply to you as one of the people, you end up in a situation where people are quoting cases of what happened to persons and trying to apply it to the people, right? So when you read many of the statutes, it addresses these persons, and they never tell you that the persons are the personnel of government or entities created by government permission, and that's by the will of the people. So, for instance, a corporation in Arizona Constitution is set up in one of the articles of the Constitution where it allows for corporations to be created. The people give the corporations the power to exist and the legislature the power to make statutes for them. Now, what will happen is that those corporate entities are bound by the legislature and the people. So when they go against the people, right, as a corporation, they can be bound, but the legislature has not been taught this difference very well. So what we have to realize is when these statutes come out and people say, oh, well, they made a statute that said that you have to get a shot to keep working. They made a statute that said you have to have a vaccine passport to be able to travel. They made a statute that said this, that, or the other. Well, those statutes would interfere with the liberties that the people have that were guaranteed to them when every government official decided to get a job in government. They swore that they would not mess with your life, liberty, and property without due process of law and a jury of your peers, right? Everybody has a right to a jury. So when they go against you using statutory cases or statutory text, they are tricking you to make you believe that your rights under the common law can be abrogated or erased by their statutory text. Now, what I'm going to do is take you to a few maxims of law so you can be able to see this and know it for yourself. This is from a 1990 collection of maxims by Charles Weisman. It had 1,600 maxims in there. There are more maxims in the world, but this one has 1,600. So it's good for you to gain information, understanding, and knowledge. We teach this in detail in our common law class. We actually use it in our affidavits class as well. Both are separate private memberships. But I'm telling you guys this so you can understand and break down the law. Many of you are worried about these little things that they try to do to you in different areas. And excuse my fingernails because I've been working on cars, as you can see. But many of you are worried because they're trying to take your freedoms in different areas as if it's a different situation. All of this is the same. They're trying to use statute as derogatory to the common law. They want you to believe that they can write out common law from existence by putting statutes in place to cover every statutory thing you could do wrong. That means that they're trying to make statute apply for the people who are above them. So the created entity of government is trying to make rules like God for the higher level people, which is the creator of government. You cannot do it. It's like us trying to make rules for God. It does not work, right? So I want you guys to understand this because it will change your perception on how you deal with every type of issue you could possibly face. This will take away your fear, your doubt, your stress, because you will have action steps that are all the same to deal with any type of issue. And now you can start being proactive in attacking anything that's bad against the people. So we're going to go deeper. We're going to look at the work from Charles A. Weisman to get an understanding of how we deal with these things and where the simple law is. Okay, so we're here in the work of Charles Weisman. We are in section 18, common law, and we need to look at 18C. Things derogatory to the common law are not to be drawn into precedent. Now, we got to be very careful, guys, because what happens is people tell us what happened in a case. For instance, like the Ninth Circuit case where it deals with licensing and people in Hawaii and guns. and they tried to make the people believe that the case was about getting rid of the right to carry a gun. But really, that case was about a statutory permit that was there in Hawaii that a man was asking a question about, or trying to bring an issue about. So when we look at the Bills of Rights in Hawaii, number 17 tells you that the people have a right to bear arms, right? Keep and bear arms. So any statute that's for some license, which is a privilege of the government, would have nothing to do with the common law Bill of Rights that says the people have a right to do this. The government does not stop people from having a right. They could withdraw a privilege by license. So 18C, things derogatory to the common law are not to be drawn into precedent. So when people tell you what a case says, are they looking at the common law, or are they looking at some statute? Are they looking at some make-believe pipe dream that some government official created, trying to tell you what it is that you can do when you don't have that authority? See, when they're writing the statute, they're writing the statute for persons. Now watch 18G. This is going to get super deep. An affirmative statute does not take from the common law. An affirmative statute does not take from the common law. So guys, when these guys think that they're writing statutes to take away your power under the common law, your rights under the common law, your ability to have justice under the common law, it does not apply. Their affirmative statute does not apply to the people. It applies to those who are under their jurisdiction as persons of government and servants. So just because they write something that looks like it's ordering you or making you do something, you have to realize that it, in most cases, does not apply to you at all. And they're trying to overextend jurisdiction and tell you about what case law says without telling you, was this a case law dealing with some administrative process, administrative procedure, administrative position? Or was this something that said any one of the people who does this or that is guilty of this or that? We know that wouldn't happen because in America, in our republic, the people are presumed innocent until proven guilty. So any statute that says you're guilty for something could in no way be something that it applies to you as being guilty before you had a trial by jury of your peers. It's impossible. So don't get it twisted. Don't be tricked into believing these things. Okay, guys, so what I want you to realize and see is that there are times that you can think that you sound smart and intelligent when you go quoting these case laws and you start saying these things that you see inside of a case. But what I want you to understand is that usually when they try to tell you what is the truth inside of a case, they are not telling you, or by the judgment of a case, they're not telling you if it was an administrative decision, what was argued in the beginning, did people use the rights of the people and the common law, or did they use a statute to present to have a matter heard? If you bring a statute to the court, you're trying to argue as a person of government or as someone who's automatically under the jurisdiction of government. You are not challenging the statute. When you look up 5.1 challenge, it'll really open your eyes to what powers we have as a people. But when you when you submit yourself to a court and argue a statute, it is presumed that you're one of the ones under the statute. When you do affidavits and notices and tell that I am one of the people, I am not one of your government employees, I'm not one of your people who are bound by your statute, I'm not part of that, you're actually clearing up the matter and showing that you stand in a higher position and you demand that the rights that the people get, you get. What that does is it forces the administrative hearing officer in that case to have to make a decision to unlawfully prosecute you, knowing that you may know what's going on with the law. As we teach the people in a powerful way so that all of you know, imagine that a judge who doesn't want to break the law and get caught would normally be able to suppress it and hide it if they had one man or woman they were going after. But if there's 500 or 1,000 people sending notice saying, we know exactly what you're doing. We know that you're trampling the law. We know that you're going against the common law. We know that you can't write statute against the common law. It's impossible. So everything you're doing here, we realize what it is that you're doing, and we're calling you out on it, and we're going to hold you accountable. That is not what government officials are used to. They're used to being able to treat people like servants and bullying people. This is why our way of thinking is different. This is why I believe God allowed many of us to suffer, to be able to see these things, come to these conclusions, and learn how to stand in the position we're supposed to and direct our government officials. We're calling out the fact that they're using statutes to bring people into a jurisdiction that does not exist for the people. And they do it a lot of times by trickery. So if the Lord wills, I shall make another video later today. This video will go on my common law class, but I'm going to give it to the people so that we can advance and kick butt around the nation. And you guys will be able to see the type of work that we do and the types of things that we study and the great detail we go into that you may not find in many other places. So with that being said, this video is yours. If the Lord wills, we will do another video later on today. We're going to get this one out. Let's get moving, people. Let's stand on our rights. Let's kick butt. Let's win. This video is yours. Peace.